everybody, to another episode of Adding the Impact. Super excited to have you with us today as we get to have an opportunity to have a conversation with Simon Chan. Now, Simon is somebody that has been in my life now for, I'm thinking probably about 10 years. I'm just trying to think how long it is now. But I've known of Simon for a long time. He is just somebody who I can jump in and just get that little bit of motivation that comes through. He's always in my inbox there to be able to add value. And he's one of the people that I just so admire in our profession, especially when it comes to wanting to be able to give back. And you will get to know Simon, if you haven't already got the pleasure of him, a little bit more as we talk today. But I want you to listen not only for the content, but listen for his heart, because his heart is about serving our profession of direct selling. His heart is about empowering more and more people to be able to make a living from this profession, but also to be able to pay it forward. And so, Simon, I really appreciate you coming and hanging out and having a conversation with me today.
Thanks for having me here. It's an honor to be here. I love what you do. Your heart, still remember. I think it has almost 9 years since we first met. I still remember the first time we met to the last time we had breakfast in New Zealand. It's been a lot of fun times. So thanks for having me here again, Celine.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm going to do your official bio just for those who may have not have had the honor of getting to know you just yet, and also to make sure then that you see even more reasons why you need to make sure that you're following Simon. So Simon Chan is a consistency coach, speaker, and author of the Amazon bestseller, The Consistency Pill, the 7-step system to increase sales and transform your business. He coaches salespeople and entrepreneurs on how to defeat overwhelm, stay consistent, and build a successful business online. Simon is best known as the host of MLM Nation Podcast, one you definitely need to add to your listening list, the #1 network marketing podcast that features in-depth interviews with over 800 top income earners. Simon started as an entrepreneur in 2003 and built a 7-figure direct selling business with over 200,000 distributors worldwide by pioneering online duplication. He was one of the first to really get into the space. He retired from building in 2013 to be a full-time business coach. And we're really pleased that you did, because, I mean, yes, it can be great to have that business, but the fact that you now get to be able to teach so many others in this space, the wisdom behind consistency and keeping things simple it's powerful, and it's a huge blessing. So Simon, again, thank you so much for coming and hanging out today. Really pleased to have you here.
Yeah, I'm ready to make it happen. I'm usually it's just an easy one for me because I'm the one normally have to think about the questions, but today I get to just relax and wait for you to ask me questions. I get to do the easy work.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Well, look, I've just read the official bio, but I love with starting by asking people, share something with us, with the audience, that people may not know about you. What is something that, is Simon? What is Simon passionate about? And, what might people not know from your bio, for example?
So I'm a shy, quiet Asian kid that grew up in Brooklyn, New York. People think I'm from the hood, Brooklyn, New York. But I actually grew up in an upper middle class family. That my dad was rags to riches. Grew up in the hood in Hong Kong, pursued the American dream, became a doctor, and I was always I would say we weren't super wealthy, but I was always the richest kid in the public school. Went to public school, and I was always taught to just study, get a good job, right? And that's all I knew. And so I got into a good university, but I didn't really had no passion for anything. I mean, my dream as a kid was to play professional baseball. That was my first love. And if you follow me on social media, I do tons of stuff with my kids with baseball. Yeah. And I always liked sports. And I remember one day my dad was just too busy. Like, he spent a little time with me when I was younger, but then his medical practice really took off. And he had to go to the nursing home. He had to go to the hospital, make the rounds to see the patients. He had a private practice in Chinatown. He'd go there twice a week. Oh, that's actually once a week. He had another private practice in Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn. He'll go there. So he never really, one day the baseball games just stopped. And I remember as a 10-year-old child, we had 3 Mercedes. but I didn't care about the Mercedes. I just wanted to spend the time and play ball. I wanted to watch the Yankees. I wanted to go to the Knicks basketball games. So I didn't really want to be a doctor. And long story short, I was just in college, went to have a normal job, and I actually got a dream job, something that a lot of people don't know about. I played college basketball. I made it as a walk-on, and I didn't play many minutes, but I just loved to play every day. At one time, I had ambitions to play semi-pro ball in Taiwan until I fractured my leg. But I got a job that was working for the NBA, for the National Basketball
Wow.
Association. So think about this: a huge basketball fan,
Yeah.
and I got a job working for the NBA. And the good news about the NBA, it was a really cool job. But the bad news is it's like supply and demand because every sports fan, and I know basketball is huge in Australia now. You have like NBA players. It used to be once in a while. Now every year Australians making to the NBA being drafted. There's just another, I think one or two Aussies just got drafted last a couple of days ago. And because everyone wants to work there, the salary was really low, right? So you don't need to pay
Yeah.
much salary. So I remember, here's a turning point for me. And this tells you how old I am. I've been in direct selling for 22 years and 21 and a half years. And I remember one point I had been to over 200 NBA games courtside. But my ex-girlfriend, she was just like, so what? But you're still not making much money. And at that time, I didn't understand it. I didn't have much responsibility. I was very immature. I just want to have fun. I'm going to NBA games. I was meeting players. That's cool, right? Even though I wasn't making any money.
Yeah.
And then eventually, what happened was the girl she broke my heart, but she dumped me. Okay, because yeah, I can joke about it now, but she dumped me, and she eventually became very financially successful. But her greatest gift was she introduced one of the biggest life-changing books, which was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
And talking about as long as you work for someone, you're always going to be broke. You're either going to be time broke or money broke. Okay? You're never going to have the freedom to live the life you want. And when I read that book, I was like, oh my goodness, no wonder she dumped me. Right? Like, this was a girl that by the time she was like late 20s, she had rental properties and all that, and a portfolio, and I had nothing. And I didn't want to live off my parents. So it's like, I needed to do something. And that's how I eventually discovered network marketing. Robert Kiyosaki talked about his second book, Cash Flow Quadrant, talk about different ways to do the different quadrants, the E quadrant, the employee
Yes.
quadrant, which I have no part of, the investor quadrant, which I want to be part of, but I have no money, and then the S quadrant, which is that was my dad, the self-employed, right? Wow, you're a doctor, but you basically own a job, which is my dad. He made good money, but he
Yep.
was broke on time, right?
Yeah.
And I realized I don't want to do that either. I want to be a business owner, and I didn't have any money. I thought about doing. I didn't have no business experience, so I thought about doing a Subway franchise, right? But then I was like, well, Subway franchise, you needed like 200,000 to get started in LA, and you only make 50,000 a year, and you really don't make any money, and you really don't make any money until you open your second or third store. And then for the first year, you actually have to work the store. You can't hire a manager. They make you work the store so that you can learn the business. I was like, well, that just sounds like another job, right? Like, and I don't have 200 grand.
Yeah.
So then they talk about this thing called network marketing. But, there's a big but. There's a lot of negative perceptions of network marketing. A lot of people don't like it. And I never knew about network marketing. I was in my 20s, and Celine, I thought network marketing was like, what's so bad about marketing computer networks? What's so bad about that? This IT is the internet. This is 2003.
Yeah.
Right? Then I said, well, I keep hearing about this thing. I researched more. I was so dumb. I read Network Marketing for Dummies. I read all these books, Richard Post, Wave 4, Wave 3 Network Marketing. And then I was like, wow, this is interesting. And at that same time, we're both people of faith and, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, my Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
And I read Purpose Driven Life at the
Oh,
same
yes.
2003.
Required.
And that book was like, changed my life because
Yep.
I read the 40 chapters. And afterwards, I felt that God spoke to me that your purpose is to have a positive impact as many lives as possible. And I was like, wow, if that's my purpose, in other words, is that really my purpose, like to impact others? Then I'm a shy, quiet person. But I thought about, hey, when I was at college, I used to help out as a youth counselor in my church. I used to help. I really loved running basketball clinics in Chinatown, New
Yep.
York, to get the kids off the streets to play. I was like, I actually enjoy coaching and mentoring. So the more I learned about my purpose, and then the more I learned about network marketing. Network marketing is not about making sales. You want to make sales? Go sell houses. Go sell cars. Right? But if you want to have residual income, income that continues to pay you year after year for the rest of your life, you need to empower and coach others to be successful. And I was like,
Mm.
wow, for my purpose, this is what sounds like God's telling me to do. And it's so funny because you actually, I think, asked maybe before the show, so you're going to ask me some questions, impactful books. Two of the most impactful books in my life I read in the same summer was The Rich Dad Poor Dad
Yep.
and
Purpose.
Purpose Driven Life. I was
Yep.
like, well, God's telling me to do this. So, long story short, no one actually recruited me into direct selling. I actually, just Googled, found a random company, a quota guy, said, hey, how do I sign up? I want to join. So that was how I got started in 2003.
Well, wouldn't we all love a Simon Chan to ring
Mm.
us up and say, "How do I get started?" and that. But
Yeah.
I have both of those books, and I have read both of those books over time as well, and they're so powerful. We talk a lot actually here when we're talking about our business opportunity in exactly around that whole quadrant that Richard Kiyosaki actually speaks to as well, and
And,
again, go on.
and I want to share something. Sorry to cut you off, though. But you said that how many of you would love to have a Simon Chan join your business, right? But here's the ironic thing: is the person I joined. You probably say you can see he was really lucky because I eventually built a 7-figure business. I still earn a 6-figure residual from the business. Team over 200,000 people. We just order, build. Every Friday, I get a check. Right? Who wouldn't want someone like that? I built a business. But here's the funny thing: that lucky person, and I wrote about him in my book, The Consistency Pill. I just call him Lucky Dave. Right? After a couple months, I struggled. So a lot of you, if you're struggling, I can relate to that. I made no money. I struggled. I
Yeah.
didn't know what to do. I was inconsistent. That was a big problem. And then one day, Lucky Dave quit and left for another opportunity because the grass is always greener somewhere else.
You
He
know.
left. All right. And the funny thing is, with the pay plan, he had one team in Japan, and he had another leg that was weak. That was me. I was like a quote unquote like a lose, not a winner. I'm making no money for months, and he quit. And the funny thing is, this lucky person, Lucky Dave, right after he quit, it's like children learning to swim, learning to ride a bike. I couldn't get it, but once I started becoming consistent, like a month or so after he quit, I got it.
Yeah.
And if he had stayed in the business today, this Lucky Dave guy who did nothing, had a random guy called Simon who reached out to him, would be earning, well, not like millions, but you'll be earning like about $80,000 a year doing nothing.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want that? Right? And like,
Exactly.
and doing
Exactly.
nothing. He was the position. I think a lot of people sabotage yourself from the success. The success is like Napoleon Hill wrote in the Think and Grow Rich. You're 3 feet from gold, but sometimes you gotta be patient. It's like the Chinese bamboo that grows nothing for 4 years, and then within 1 month it grows like 90 feet.
Yeah.
Right? I was like the Chinese bamboo. I was just not struggling. I didn't get it. I could not understand it until I started making things simpler, staying consistent. And he didn't get it. And that's why none of you can quit because you don't have a magic crystal ball, right? You can't
Mm.
predict the future. Like even right now, I don't have the crystal ball. My business will keep growing, Celine. And one day I'll be in Iceland. One day I'll be in Nigeria. I don't know that. We
Yeah.
don't have that. That's why if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you can't quit because you never know who's going to come in. And often it's the person you least expect. And also, you don't know the person that your downline brings in that could be the
Yep.
superstar. Right? You just don't know
Absolutely.
that.
It's so true. I mean, I think that there's gold. We could actually end now, and there is actually the goal is not get in line, stay in line, and not quit. Because we were just talking with Jeff Roberti. He was at our conference, and he's been in our Juice Plus business now for I think it's 35 years, and exactly a very very similar story. Not too much longer after he joined, his upline quit And same things. Went to another deal, never really made it there. But literally, if he had stayed in line, it would have been, probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars over that time that he would have earned because of, what Jeff did. I have been in this profession for, 42 years now. It has been 31, nearly 32 years full time. And I can honestly say you could line up a whole heap of people in front of me, and I still, with all of the experience I have, would not be able to tell you who is going to make it and who's not. And that, in that first thing, because a lot of people can come in with lots and lots of potential, but potential actually is not what gets the results. It is something that you just touched on there. It's really about that consistency element. It's, getting the fundamentals and doing them consistently. Can you speak a little bit about that? Because I know that this is something you are truly passionate about helping people to find is finding out what the fundamentals are in our business, which is there's not that many of them, and actually, doing consistently. You've got some really great formulas around that. What would you like to share around that?
Network marketing has evolved, but it's still a simple business. Now, it's not easy, but it's very, very simple. And whether you're doing hotel meetings, running ads in the newspaper, like back in the Jeff Roberti days, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned, sending out VHS tapes and having people send them back to you, to DVDs, to sending people a video link, to YouTube, to now Zoom, social media, TikTok. It's still the same principles, still the same, right? And so the first myth is like, oh, you have a system that automates and sells it itself, right? That's total nonsense, BS, because if it's really true, then these companies wouldn't need us, right? If it was such a thing as an automated system that just recruit itself with no human interaction, then why would they even have network marketing? A company, like if I was going to start a company, I'll just create the system and I'm not going to pay anyone any commissions. So that's total baloney. But it's a simple thing, the simple steps is what I call the DMO, daily method of operation, right? Every day, number one, you have to go and do some piece of marketing where people know what you're doing. And you talked about that, it's adding value, right? My late mentor, Jim Rohn, told me, you always get paid for the value you contribute to the marketplace. And so every day you got to be giving value, whether it's on a podcast, whether it's in your community, whether you're being a youth counselor at your church, whether you're helping out with Little League Baseball, you're giving value, whether it is speaking at a meetup, contributing your time to PTA, Parents Teachers Association, or easiest, my favorite, social media. You're teaching, you're giving tips and hints. Every day you're giving value, right? So that's the first piece of thing, what I call marketing. You got to create content. Number two is you got to meet new people. Every day you have to meet new people. Whereas the old days where you put 2 quarters in the pocket, you come home, every time you meet someone, you put another quarter in the other pocket, right? I've done that. Now say you can still do that, or you can go and meet people on social media through like Instagram, TikTok, followers of followers, hashtags, Facebook groups. There's so many ways, right? And the key part is instead of trying to do everything, just do one way.
Yeah.
And one way. Third thing is you got to ask people whether they'd be interested to look at what you have. Well, I call it invite, right? The simple thing could be, Selena, I'm working on something exciting. It may or may not be for you. Would you be open to taking a look? And the person says no. All right, no, but I asked, right?
Yes.
And most people will say no. But if they say yes, then you do a presentation. There's different presentation. You can send them a video, probably the easiest way. You can meet them, explain them, which is the other part. And the last thing that you got to follow up every day.
Yeah.
Follow up, the fortunes and the follow up. And it's a simple business, comes down to all these 5 things. There's different ways to do it, but like social media or meeting in person or whatever, but it's the same 5 core activities. And it's when people try to do too much, that's when they get stuck, they get overwhelmed.
I love that. And it's, for the whole time that I've known you, it's been that consistent message. The fundamentals never change. How you do it, whether it was like a video, whether it's on social media, whether it's in person, whatever, like the way in which you can do it can be what is authentic and true for you. So we've got a number of different, like, groups or demographics. And I think of our wow women, our women of wisdom. And so they're older women that are not always comfortable on social media, but they're so comfortable with going to a networking or event, or, chit-chatting to somebody in the bank line or the supermarket line or whatever like that. And, you can sometimes feel like, oh, I'm not doing it the normal. You're doing it whatever way you can, because it really does come back down. If we think about those activities that you talked about, your marketing, your value adding, how do you do that? In so many ways. People automatically think that it needs to be in one particular way because that person is doing it. Be authentic to who you are and add value in that way. And I love that. Meeting new people, what does that look like for you? Just get really, really clear on what that looks like for you, and then do that each day as well. Invite. Again, it is that without actually inviting people to have a closer look at what you've got. I love the words that you used. Then at the end of the day, you're just kind of adding value for add value's sake, and that's fine. But if you want to build a business, you need to kind of do the invitation, then the presentation, and then the follow up. So, with that, do you believe, like, from your own perspective, and I loved to, because I used to have the 5 bangles on one arm and switch them over to the other arm as I did them. So if I still had bangles on this arm, I hadn't spoken to enough people that day. And that was back in the old day before social media and that. So that was my kind of, tip and whatever. But what you coach, thousands of leaders around the world, and you coach people, to hugely successful businesses. How often do you come across it where people say, oh, but it can't be that simple. It can't be that easy to be able to do it. And that, what is your advice to people when they start to try and go out and overcomplicate it? Because that's something I've noticed over the years. We try to overcomplicate it. And I don't know whether it's an ego thing. We want to feel more important or feel that it has to be harder. What's your thoughts around that?
Yeah, the overcomplication comes and the confusion comes when we do too many things, too many different vehicles or strategies at the same time, right? And that comes from FOMO, fear of missing out. Right? Like, oh no, like this person's doing TikTok. Oh, I gotta get me your TikTok. The TikTok videos get great views. Oh, but this person is doing Instagram. But you just said someone's doing these women groups, meetups, running groups, and they just sign up 2 people from the running group. I gotta make sure I go join a running club too, because I like to run. And then, oh, this person got a yoga instructor, and the yoga instructor got all the students as customers. Oh, I need to meet a yoga instructor. And then you're doing so many things and you never break through. It's like light, right? When light spread out, I have like a light shining in my face, does nothing. But when light is focused, it becomes a laser. So all these strategies work, but choose what works best for you, right? So if TikTok is so difficult, but you're good at meeting people at the store, then go for that. It works, right? If you're good at, hey, maybe you're good at the Facebook, but I have to do TikTok too, and you're not comfortable, then you don't need to do that. No one says you need to do everything, but it's having the discipline to do one. And the most important, you know what the most important word for an entrepreneur needs to say, Celine? Most important word.
What is it?
You just said it. You shook your head. It's no.
Yeah.
No. You want to do this? No. You want to? No. I'm a no. Because I'm doing this one thing already. No. So, I mean, that's been always been the key to my success. Like I shared with you, I'm shy, quiet. I didn't know many people, but I started doing online marketing really early back in 2004. And I just did, at that time, I could do Google AdWords. And I found all these leads really cheap through Google AdWords, then Google AdSense. And then that was the key to my success. And my real breakthrough after I got that going, right, was Malaysia. And then afterwards, it was Philippines. But it was one at a time. Here's the thing. You can do a lot of different things. You can do Facebook. You can do TikTok. You can go and do your running club. But one thing at a time, right? So I went Google AdWords for like 2-3 years and got good at it. Then I did AdSense. I went to Malaysia for 3 years. Then went to Philippines. Got that down 2 years. Then even for the MLM Nation, it was the one thing was the podcast. That's how we
Yeah.
made it with the podcast. So I wasn't doing so many different things. See, what you try to do is like the Chinese, proverbs, like when you chase two rabbits, you end up getting none,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
focus on one technique. It's good to know what others are doing, but stay disciplined in your lane. And because I shared before, I don't know if you listeners out there caught it, when you invite people, most people will not be interested.
Yeah.
It's not because your product's not Juice Plus is not good. It's because that it's a timing issue. This business is about timing, right? Like if you're talking to someone uh, on a Friday, and it's a holiday, and right now is a Thursday is a July 4th here. No one's interested in looking at a business. But
Yep.
on Sunday, when they're about to go back to work, and they're, oh, I can't believe I go to work. I wish I was like Celine, just relaxing, sleeping late. Then there'll be a good prospect. It's
Yeah.
timing, right? And
Yeah.
also, so your best prospects are ones in transition. So I
Mm.
was in transition. I just moved to LA, right? My girlfriend had just dumped me. I was looking for something. I was in transition. Transition could mean someone they're young, they want to have fun, not interested, but now they're planning a wedding, they need money.
Yes.
Oh, now they're open to opportunity, right? Or someone who's about to have a baby. Oh, and they
Yes.
got to buy diapers. Now they're open. Or a mother that was working, her maternity leave is ending, and now she'd rather work at home, right? Or someone's going through a health challenge. Your best prospects are in transition. And that's why it's so important to stay consistent. But it's very difficult to stay consistent if you're doing so many different things and you're overwhelmed.
I love all of that. So a couple of points I want to pull out from there. First of all, I think that that transition word is actually so important, and it's a great opportunity for people to realize that when you're building relationships with people, if you can kind of listen to what's going on in their life, you'll actually start to notice when they may actually end up being in transition. They might not be now, and I always said it was never no forever. For most people, it's actually just no, not now. And
Yep.
so if you keep the relationship open, you will know when their transition point is coming up, because there are hundreds of thousands of transition points in every one of our lives. Like you say, from being, that late teens, early 20s where you just want to party, through to suddenly maybe planning a wedding, through to starting a family, maybe, through to wanting to be able to have a different choice at work, through to people wanting to be able to retire effectively with money coming in and all that. There
Yep.
are so many points along the way. So that transition word is something that I really want everyone listening, no matter what business you're in, to think about when you're actually thinking about your ideal candidate, because that's a brilliant little note to have in the back of your head. Is this person in transition? And how can I speak into the transition they're making in their life? So yes, they're on maternity leave. They're going to need to go back to work. How do I speak into that pain of what that transition is like? And it's only
Yep.
through listening to their stories that you actually get to know the transition points.
Yeah.
That's
And that's
so
why it's
cool.
so important to show up consistently. Because here's the thing, if you're giving value, like you've seen this, Celine, you do a lot of posts with giving value. I would say most people don't comment nor like it, right? That's not, most people don't comment and
Yeah.
like my stuff, but that does not mean they don't see it. They see it, but they don't comment or like it, right?
Yep.
So they see it and they know you. So you're posting consistently right now and you're not getting any engagement. It's okay because people are seeing it. But here's the challenge: when that transitional time comes, are you still around? Because if
Yeah.
you're not around or you're not consistent that day, guess what? They will still join, they'll still buy, but just from someone else
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
don't see you. And I think one of the best stories is Roberti, right? Roberti
Yeah.
and Lauren Lahoff.
Yeah.
Was it 18 years, 19 years?
I know.
Sometimes 1 year, for me, it's 4 months. If you're Lauren, took 18 years. And that's why, like you never quit because the longer you stay in, the game gets easier and easier. Because it's not so. Someone you meet today, they may a year from now they may join. They may 5 years, but the longer you stay in, the people from 10, 15, like Roberta, 18, 25 years ago, they weren't interested. Something changed. right? Or they were so negative about the direct selling, but now they saw a different light, and now their eyes are open. And the
And if
key
we
is
use that
most will
example,
be there when they're ready.
yeah, absolutely. Because if we use that example of, say, Jeff and Lauren and that length of time that that relationship was sewing in, showing up, adding value into Lauren's life, and when she was ready, in that moment when she was ready, and that she said yes. I mean, that resulted in just one of the legs. And listen to this, people. 80% of the business in Juice Plus across Australia and New Zealand is because of that one relationship, that one recruit. Because
It's
under
incredible,
there
right?
was Lauren, and then there's Linda, and then you go through that kind of thing. But that is staying in line. Who are they going to look like? And I've got stories like that in my own, where I was sowing seeds, and it was in the old day where you were doing it face to face, dropping out catalogs, making sure you were staying in touch. But I remember one particular, she rang me up, says me, "Are you still doing that business?" And I says, "Yes, I am." She says, "I'm ready." And she was actually turned into one of my top leaders. But she would have been somebody I was sewing into for probably 5 or 6 years. But because I was still there, I was able to leverage that opportunity. How many times, and I think even more so today than ever, I want you to come back to that statement you made, and I use it quite regularly myself. You can't chase two rabbits, or you can't ride two horses. You've got to stay on path. And at the moment, there are so many distractions. There's, market resale rights, and there's this, and there's that, and there's affiliate this, and there's all the rest kind of thing, because people are talking about, multiple streams of income. However, I believe, and I'd love to know your opinion on this, I believe that it's actually about building your business strongly and then using your money, like we talk about in the cash flow quadrant, to invest into other, to earn multiple streams of income, not diluting your focus. Because if you're building a business over here and then you're trying to do some, other stuff, affiliate stuff over here and over here, your focus is instead of,
Yeah.
I love the analogy you used about the light. A light shining in here, but suddenly when it's pinpointed, it's laser. You get very different results. I'd love to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's not just a conflict of time. People always and I share this background, my background. I didn't that for the longest time I didn't feel comfortable sharing with this, but I used to want to do multiple streams of income. I was going to be a model, right? I was going to do modeling, and I joke about it now. I thought I was so good looking. I was in such great shape. I was ripped. I was going to be a model. And actually, when my original sponsor called me, I wasn't ready. I was shopping for clothes for a modeling shoot. And I was like, call me back later, 2 hours later. He called me back 2 hours later, and he signed me up. I was going to do real estate. I was going to do some info marketing and modeling and network marketing. 5 things. And for the first couple of months, I didn't make money from any of that. And then I realized my breakthrough was when I started thinking, because I felt that I was getting some inroads from network marketing. Once I started becoming consistent, it's incredible. I got a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. It's a compound effect. I was totally terrible, and I got a lot better, right? And I was like, well, this is way more rewarding.
Yeah.
And then I was like, why am I even thinking about doing these other things? And first of all, I just didn't have time or energy to think about it, right? Because it's like my mentor used to say AT&T all the time. Or they was thinking about my network marketing business all the time, meaning if I'm not thinking about who to reach out to, right? And then who to follow up with, or what type of value I'm going to give. If you just want to focus on what type of value you're going to give today, just research, read, whatever, you're not going to even have time to do anything else. If you did do that other thing else, I'll tell you, it's going to be a really crappy job, right?
Yeah.
You got to focus. And going back to like Jeff Roberti, I know he does so many other things. And Lauren, and we had him on MLM Nation episode 454, when he shared that, was like, Jeff was focused on building his Juice Plus business until he started doing other things, right? Yeah. He's doing other things now. And I'm not saying you can't do other things. You can, but when you're building, you got to build one thing at a time. And another thing is you got to make the sacrifices. We all want to be Olympians, right? It's like this year's the Olympic athlete, because the Olympians, if you ask people, do you want to be the gold medalist or you want to just be the participant? Everyone's like, oh, I want to be the gold medalist, right? But every gold medalist had zero balance, was focused on one thing They were not doing, I'm doing swimming, but I want to do some basketball on the side. Or I'm doing swimming and I'm going to, if they did anything, it was to make the core sport better. And they're focusing on it 12, 15 hours a day, right? That's how you
Yeah.
become Olympian. So it's not just a conflict of time; it's a conflict of attention. You're thinking about it. And Linda Evanen, these are, you guys have the best stories. Juice Plus, like she shared at MLM Nation, the episode 277, how she had met Lauren, right?
Yeah.
At again doing real estate in Vegas somewhere, and then realized Juice Plus is way easier, and they will make way more money if you just focus on this one thing. And
Yeah.
once you build it up, then you can do other things. But you gotta be
Absolutely.
focused, right? You
Mm.
can do, and one of my mentors told me this, Simon, you can do many, many things, but at one time you can only do one thing and you give it 5 years. So 5 years hard, I'm gonna do Juice Plus.
Yep.
Afterwards, the next 5 years, I can do something else. But during the 5 years, you cannot be doing Juice Plus and doing affiliate marketing, being an influencer, doing all this. You end up making no money.
Yeah, I love it. I've always looked at that it's about earning the right to actually be able to diversify. You know,
I love that, earning the right. Yes, you haven't worked hard enough. You don't deserve it yet.
that's one of the things that I love. I love it. So, if we think about, and I'd love for people to go back and really re-listen to, this, the wisdom that Simon is talking about. First of all, it's that consistent DMO. Like, it's not difficult. If you do those 5 things every single day on day, you then get the compound effect. And when we hear about the compound effect all of the time. But when you're compounding these actions, not only do you get better, but your results get better too, because of the fact that you're just like working at a gym or working on a sport or whatever. It is the year of the Olympics. And if we think about all of those Olympic athletes, they didn't just get up one day and decide, I'm going to be a gold medalist swimmer or gymnast or whatever. They actually had to consistently put in the work day after day, week after week, month after month, and year after year to earn the right to be even considered. Because you don't just get to go because you think, oh, well, I want to go. You've actually got to earn the right to be invited to participate, to represent your country. So it's exactly the same if we look at our business like a sport that we want to be at the Olympics in. How are we going to show up each day? And I think that
Yeah,
if that was the case, we'd show up each
yeah.
day.
One other thing you just brought up, very important. These Olympic athletes, they didn't say, "I want to try to make it to the Olympics." They didn't
Yes.
say they try. This is they made a decision. This is my life. I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Guys, this is my life. I'm going to make all the sacrifices to make it happen. This is, I'm going to try it out. When people say, I'm going to try out Juice Plus, you might as well quit because you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
Because to be successful requires a lot of hard. Here's the reality. The compensation plan is awesome. You get paid tons of money, but it is hard. It's a simple business, but it's hard. But you can do it if you stay laser focused, visualize your success, and act consistently every day. Right?
Yeah.
And the reason I created the podcast, MLM Nation, wasn't just to copy what leaders do. More important, copy how they think. Now,
Mm.
listen to the episodes with Lauren LaHoff, with Linda Evan, Adam Westwick, right? Look
Yeah.
at when they were my favorite questions. What's your worst moment to the point you wanted to quit and you hated it, but you didn't quit, and that's why you are where you are today. And every
Mhm.
one of those leaders have amazing stories. If you think things were tough for you, theirs was way tougher, but they didn't quit. And success is about, bad things will happen, unfavorable things will happen. People will quit, people will not join, people won't show up for meetings, but it's how you interpret what happens to you,
I
right?
love that.
And keep going and visualize. It's not like I'm going to try to make it, because if you try and people don't show up, you say, oh, I see, I tried. It's not going to happen. But say, hey, I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think that's, that actually is so important. It's that decision. Okay. It is that
Yeah.
decision. When am I going to make that decision? And for every single one of you that are listening here today as well, you get to be able to make a decision today. It's not when you signed your application or anything like that. That's all really just administration. Your business actually starts when you give it what we call your second yes, when you actually make a decision that this is something that you are going to be a network marketer, you are going to be a successful Juice Plus partner. It's actually when you
Absolutely.
make that decision, not I'll try it and see how it goes or whatever. No, I'm going to be, that's how I'm going to be. And I noticed for myself in my own business, once I embraced and really adapted the mindset of that, this is what I am. I am a professional direct seller. this is what I do, just as if I was a banker or a doctor or anything else. This is who I am. Then not only did I show up differently, but people showed up differently around me because they suddenly were attracted to the fact that I had certainty about how I wanted to be in the world. And so it was powerful. And so I would encourage people to make a decision rather than just dipping your toe in and out, because you're never getting to the Olympics by dipping your toe in and out.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? The word decision comes from the word in Latin, die, right? Decide, like homicide is dying, I'd, right? Suicide is die, IDE. Decide is something has to give up, something has to die. So almost like you got to be the new you, right? All those habits, things that hold you back, those have to die. You got to get rid of those things. That's making the decision, right? So yeah, for me, I joined, but I struggled for months. But I really joined was one time I listened to an audio, got so angry. It's like, I'm struggling for months, made no money. I spent $2,000, but I know this works, but I wasn't working. Right? And that's when I made that decision. So I stopped like all this stuff that wasn't making you money. My mentor used to ask me, is that thing going to help you get you closer to your goal or further away from my goal? And at first I just start thinking like that. Well, yeah, watching 30 minutes of sports on TV, yeah, it's taking me away from my goal, right? I couldn't afford my monthly maintenance, ownership. But I was like, wait, why cable TV, ESPN, is that taking me closer to the goal or further away? It's taking me further away from the goal. So yeah, I canceled cable TVs, saved like $140. Oh, there you go. I have money for the products now, right?
Yeah.
So all the things that didn't take me closer to the goal, and I would actually have a date to go on my door. So every time I left my apartment, I'll look at it and say, where am I going? Am I doing something that will help me take me closer or further away from my goal?
That's awesome. And it's so, so true. As we start to kind of, come towards the end, a couple of things I want to ask you. First of all, what are you excited about continuing to add the impact in what you do? You're such an impactful person. You share constantly. You're always adding value, both from a business perspective, from a faith perspective, from a family perspective. I love how you show up with your boys and baseball and all the rest, and happy anniversary as well recently too. And that, but how is it? What do you see for your future as you continue to add impact out in the world?
Well, we've had MLM Nation Podcast for, believe it, almost 10 years. And I love doing it. And I think the next 10 years is going even bigger, right? Network marketing has its ebbs and flows. But at the end of the day, this is still, now you have a lot of other options. You can drive Uber, Airbnb. Yes, you can do affiliate marketing. You can be an influencer. But network marketing is still the best profession for the quote unquote average person to build wealth. And someone like me with no business skills, and now I'm speaking on stage. I got to meet you. I didn't even have any friends in Australia. Get to go speak at your events, at your conference in Perth. It's just incredible what they can do. And what excites me though is no matter what you read about, oh, this doesn't work, whatever, people love network marketing, right? In many ways, the government loves network marketing because it gives people hope, right? And right now, look, you can see. Just like in Australia, right? Things are more and more expensive. Inflation, housing, more expensive. Like if you're at a job, it's pretty sad. Like I was texting my friends, and they're all like job mentality. They're all depressed. But if you're an entrepreneur, it's exciting because when the economy is bad, that's when network marketing thrives. Because people are open to opportunity. And all these things about a gig economy, they don't give residual income, right? You still got to do work. Even like owning even Airbnb, whatever, or you want to do Uber, there's no residual income in that. Network marketing, I still get paid a residual income for something I did in 2003. Actually, 2003, I didn't make any money, but 2004. Some people still buy some products. I still make money from that. That is amazing. That's what excites me most. And I see a lot of the younger generation who are more open. Like we're dating ourselves, Celine, but we're a little bit older. And back then, we were just job, job, job. If you had a side gig, people look weird. But the younger generation, they want to be influencers. They see like the parents working hard and not making it. They want to do something else. And with a smartphone, it just gives you unlimited opportunity for network marketing. And you see the younger generation more open to this. And that's what excites me most. Having this new group of leaders coming in. That's really exciting.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All righty. Let's ask you some rapid fire questions here as we go. So, if you were to give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Don't care about what other people say about you.
That's powerful.
You know what there's a saying? When you're 20, you worry about what other people say. When you're 40, you don't care about what people say.
Mm.
And then when you're 80, you finally wake up and realize no one was saying anything about you.
Yes. It's so true. So true. Only because I'm getting kind of, further up that scale. You
No one was
realize.
thinking about you.
Exactly. Right. What's your favorite book right now?
Oh, my favorite book right now is something I read like 8 months ago, How to 10X Your Business by Darren Hardy.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Really, really cool. Have you got a song that you listen to when you want to feel motivated?
Thunderstruck by AC/DC.
A good Australian
Yeah,
band.
do you remember that's what we played at the Brisbane
Yes,
event?
I
That's when we
do.
met.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What's your favorite quote?
The temptation to quit is greatest when success is right around the corner.
Oh, that is powerful. The temptation to quit is greatest when success is just around the corner. I
Yeah.
want you to take that, everybody. I want you to put it up somewhere, so that you can just look at it, because that's powerful. I've not heard that like that. So that is very powerful.
And I want to add something to that. Often I ask people, have you ever wanted to quit? No, they say, no, I never wanted to quit. I love it. I say, well, if you never wanted to quit, I just say to them, you just never worked hard enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's working hard, and when life is miserable and you really wanted to quit, but
Yeah.
you don't, that's what success is.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. So make sure, I'm going to encourage all of you, make sure, of course, straight out of the gate, that you follow MLM Nation Podcast. I mean, we'll make sure that we put all of the links in the show notes here, as well. Simon, where else can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram or Facebook, Simon W. Chan. You can message me. I actually reply to every comment, every direct message. It may take me a day or so, but I'll reply back. And yeah, I'd love to continue the conversation, meet everyone here and on social media.
Awesome. Simon, thank you so much. You are an absolute blessing, to the world and to our profession. Really, really love being able to hang out with you. And thank you so much for adding so much value to our Adding the Impact audience as well.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me here. And don't forget, everyone, we're in the profession to help others. So go out there and have a positive impact on someone's life. God bless you all.
Amen. God bless.